All right. Apparently I'm live. So, hello. I know I should be doing a rant. Oh, I went live, but the picture didn't, apparently. Just watching this show called Avenue 5. It's the guy that made Veep. And one of the running gags is there's a 26-second delay whenever they have to call someone from space back to Earth. It's pretty funny. It's kind of what's going to happen here because I'm... Yep. All right. All right, I got the green light because I can see it in another thing. So here we go. What we're going to do is I'm going to turn on Joker, one of my favorite films of last year, second only to Parasite, and probably should have been what would have been a strong contender for Best Picture of the year. At least it should have been, and I'm glad Parasite won. It definitely was the better film of the two. But, well, we'll get into it because we're talking Joker. So if you rented it or however you rented it, what I'm going to do is it's 5 seconds in. You're going to see exactly 5 seconds. You'll see the Warner Brothers logo like that. And when you get to the 5 seconds, you're going to press play and then you start hearing the car horns. So here we go. Here, I'll cut it to this. So 5, 4, 3, no, 2. Oh, here we go. Here we go. And press it. Yes. In this instance, there's a garbage strike going on, and everyone's still allowed to work. I wonder what's going to happen coming up when... Well, I'm hoping the one of you, hello. This is why I don't want to look at live chat. I'm still learning how to do it. I can find out who's here. But you know what? I'm talking to you, and I'm talking to you being anyone who joins in. Joaquin Phoenix's performance, it eclipses a lot of Robert De Niro's work. It is equal, and in some cases surpasses sometimes Daniel Day-Lewis's work. He learned the lesson of Daniel Day-Lewis, really, which is be an enigma. Don't be this guy who everyone knows. Like, keep him off balance. So that way when you see him, you don't know what to expect. I watched Todd Phillips, the director of this movie, talk about this particular scene where he's looking at himself in the mirror, pulling his face. And then when he pulls his face up, yeah, that shot when he's crying and doing that was not meant to happen. It just happened. Joaquin Phoenix just happened to get tears. He hurt himself so much, I guess. But it's those little moments that you catch. This is another film that has incredible production values and production design and set design. It looks like a film that came out in about 1979 to 1982. I'm assuming it's probably like 1981. I don't know why I'm busted down the years. So, I alluded to this film being Best Picture of the Year, or one of the Best Pictures of the Year last year. But this was really the start of me completely eschewing critics. Because I saw that Joker got 68% on Rotten Tomatoes. This was back when I was still actively looking at most reviews. 68%. And of course, the audience score is much higher. The problem with the quote-unquote critics on that site is that they're not critics of the film. They're social critics. Now, of course, there are some major critics on there that are top critics, but I don't know what their hiring practices is to decide who gets to be counted in the critics. Oh, man. Ow! We got hit with that sign, man. So social critics look at this strictly through social eyes. For example, the scene just now where he got beat up. A lot of different people put a lot of different meaning into that scene, and really those kids are just a catalyst for what's to come. They don't play into the film at all. Now this, I want you to watch very closely. He's on the ground, writhing in pain. He reaches into his vest, and water comes out of his flower, as in like he still finds what happened funny. Yep, there we go. This scene is like so hard to take. I can't imagine how many. I wonder how many takes were done, and how painful it was to just continually do that. I would guess with someone is that method would want to keep doing it until it was incredibly painful, and then they would start rolling. But the director does a fantastic job here of really keeping you disoriented. Like, where are we? We see him laughing. Okay, then we cut. Now we know he's in an office. Looks like he's waiting for someone, because no way anyone would do that in person in front of someone. That's what the shot is pulling back to show, at least in my opinion. And then we get a cut to the social worker. So you're like disoriented. Wait, I'm in an office. Oh my God, he's doing that right in front of his social worker? Yeah, it's just getting crazier out there. It is certainly tense. Wow, this movie is a bit more a part of right now than it was before, even though class warfare and cutting services is certainly something that happens all the time. But I was talking about the quote-unquote critics, social critics. Social critics attack things that they want to score points on. It's like it's a game, at least some of them. And I'm not saying if it's one spectrum right to the left or center, doesn't matter. If you are trying to comment on something that you really don't know that much about, and when you write a review, you're actually reviewing the social pulse of the nation as opposed to the film itself, you're doing the film a disservice, and you're doing your audience a disservice because they may really want to see it. I've had a couple of friends who were reluctant to see this because of the reviews. In fact, a couple of them still haven't seen it. When I went to see this for the first time, I saw it opening day. And then I took my girlfriend the next day because I said, you got to see this. And she had a different experience than me. She appreciated the artistry and the mastery of Joaquin Phoenix, but I just hope my death makes more sense than my life. You notice that he said C-E-N-T-S. It's what is written down. So he's barely literate. It's something to remember. So my girlfriend had a different experience. It can be a very punishing experience sometimes. But some people, like me, I find that cathartic, and some people don't. But I pointed out a particular review to her that described the opening scene of the movie, and she agreed with me that what we saw was nothing like what was in the review. So the moment when he just slammed his head against the door, which is a fantastic visual way of saying something. And the reason that's important is in this original script, there was a longer scene involved with that very moment. But they were able to distill it down to the dong, dong, dong. I just don't want to feel so bad anymore. And, by the way, spoilers don't even count anymore. This film has been around so long. I just don't want to feel so bad anymore. That is basically the thesis statement, as you were, of the film. Now, he thinks he's been told that medication and societal rules and societal pressures are what would make him not a bad person, but he discovers that he doesn't have to change. Everyone else has to change. He's not the bad one. Everyone else is the bad one. Oh, this bus scene is so disturbing and uncomfortable. So he has to embrace his badness, in other words, in order to no longer be a bad person, if that makes any sense. That when he laughs and shakes his head, but that face, it almost brings you to tears, because it's so painful to watch. A great way to do the exposition. Critics, yes, the critics, they depress the score, and as I said before, I think that it's because it's owned by a ticket company and another movie company, and who knows what all that. Well, who knows what's going to happen with all that? There won't be many movies for people to write reviews on for a while, anyway. Let's skip the critics right now, because this is a beautiful shot. Now, coming up, he's going to go up a long flight of stairs, the famous set of stairs. Now, if you watch my other channel, Korean Cinegeek, I'll talk about how up and down is very important in terms of class warfare. So for here, he's down in the gutter, and he realizes, oh, man, I got to go back home. And it's revealed that he has a long slog to get to that pretty blue and white, get those white lights in the pretty blue sky. And even up there, it's filled with garbage. But you have to go up there. That's where he has to go. When he's moving into his lair, you can see him going down a little bit. I think that was just conjecture on my part. It's more the staircase and the grander themes of the movie than every angle means something. So the critics are a joke right now, and then they call them social critics. For example, the movie Hustlers, which came out last year, I don't remember the score, because around that time is when I completely just cut off looking at all this, but the score definitely was certified fresh. I know that guy on the TV. He's a great actor. Starred in Urinetown. Jeff McCarthy. Shout out to Jeff. So Hustler's got a 90+% rating from the critics. It was objectively bad. And the fact that Jennifer Lopez was nominated for an Academy Award, or what I meant to say was that people were upset that Jennifer Lopez was not nominated for an Academy Award is laughable. Jennifer Lopez is a really good actress, but come on. So it was with those two things, I'm thinking, okay, I read opinion pages of the New York Times and the Wall Street Journal and other places like that, and I read opinion pieces about society and life and art, but I don't want a critic to tell me just how they feel about how this fits into the scheme of this movement or this movement or this moment as the only thing to say. Brilliant change right here. Such a well put together scene with exposition. Once Robert De Niro comes out, you get to learn a lot about Arthur Fleck and what really matters to him. So they go for the social moment, and that's it. Now, if you want to talk about the film as a whole, technically, story-wise, narrative-wise, and then say, and also in the moment, it feels either right in the moment or not really of the moment. It's a bit misguided. But at least you know what the film is good or not. You can decide for yourself whether or not the moment matters. I love you, Murray. Should be about 13 minutes and 10 seconds. No, 13 minutes and 10 seconds in, yeah. So it's those people that are adding to the score, and I think that does a disservice. Here, I'm going to listen to this. This is, here we go. I take good care of my mother. It seems like looks like he's totally feels underappreciated because nobody knows that. He certainly did spread joy and laughter, just not with the right people, right? And in this age of everything being reliant upon the internet, like I'm broadcasting on the internet right now, and everyone is at home or at work if they have to, and I feel really bad for them. But, there are people who have to protect the vulnerable. But everyone's inside. Everyone's looking for information. Everyone's looking for content. Everyone's looking for this. And I would just caution people on someone who claims they're a critic and writes an article or writes a review. You should go to the original source of that review. And if they don't talk about the movie, the actual film that they saw, because sometimes another review is, this is the movie I wanted to see, therefore the movie that I just watched is bad. And I know you know what I'm talking about. Oh, it's so creepy. The first time you see this and you hear that sound design is beautiful, and then this body, the contortions. And it's a clown shoe. So, he got beat up because of the bruises from the beating he took from the sign. So go to the source. And if the person is saying, hey, the direction was bad, the script was anemic, the costumes and the budget it looked very low budget, and the performances were wooden, and then it was also tone deaf because it dealt with an issue in such a horrible way, that's a very valid review of a movie, a generalized review of a movie. But to just say, in this moment, this movie cannot be seen. It is horrible. I give it 0 stars. That's not a movie review. And unfortunately, a lot of reviews are just like that, and they count on Rotten Tomatoes. Which is why I said in the last stream, this scene I wonder about, because he gives him a gun. Are they friends? Did he pay for the gun? What's the... And I love the Joaquin Phoenix. He's like, I'm not supposed to have a gun. With that side lift. But that's why you really shouldn't trust... Trusting aggregate sites are a bit sketchy these days. For Broadway, there's Show Score, and you're listening to people, you have no idea who they are. I mean, you have no idea who I am. Well, the person who's watching probably knows me pretty well. Oh. Clearly he didn't think what was going on in there was funny at all. It just triggered the laugh reaction in him. Oh yeah, it's like Joaquin Phoenix at his most vulnerable almost. Like he wanted to sit and, talk. So I don't know if I want to go back to critics or not yet. The sign. He's getting dissed for the sign. Yeah. it doesn't make sense for the boss. It makes no sense for the boss when he hears that someone stole his sign. But it makes perfect sense that Arthur would keep the sign. Look at it. Look at this long take. This long take. Look at his eyes. He's keeping the rage in. He's keeping the rage in by smiling. And why do we know it's rage? Because of what happens next. There, just like kicking the shit out of garbage cans and garbage bags. When I saw the trailer, I thought he was stomping on a person. It was a good trailer. Excellent trailer. In my experience recently, oh, there he goes. He's like hunchbacked, going up those steps into the light. So it's like he knows he has to be up there. Whereas in Parasite, they go up, but they live down, but they want to go up. They don't want to be down in the bottom in the sewage and the water. They want to be up at the top with the green and the sun. You know, the problem of having a monitor on without knowing how to use a monitor is that you can hear yourself from 20 seconds ago. So I'm going to take a look at this. Somebody wrote in the public chat, but I'm going to not look at the public chat except to say hi to whoever this person is. I'm happy for you to be here. Person named Lauren Hines? Okay. Anyway, Lauren, thank you for joining us. And when I say us, I mean me. You know, this was supposed to be partially a way for me to not talk to my girlfriend so much because I talk people's ears off. But she's listening to this right now. I wonder what's going to happen. Oh, getting back to the scene that I was just watched when he was in the elevator with the woman, and he goes, he totally misreads the moment. He doesn't understand how to do our comedy. I do like the music of the Joker in Joker, but I think it wasn't used to the best extent. I don't like the stairway dance used into I think it's Rock and Roll Part 1, done by the famous pedophile Gary Glitter. It's not the charges that made me think it's bad. I just think that the song it felt, I don't know, too indulgent, I guess. But then when it cut to the beautiful Academy Award-winning score, then it really soars. That's why I said the music, I think, was a slight misstep. Oh. Telling his mom he wants to be a comedian. Or don't you have to be funny to be a comedian? No. If you were to watch a lot of stuff on streaming services, you would say, no, you don't have to be funny to be a comedian. But that's all I'll say about that. No, it's not all I'll say about that. I'll go back and say more if I want. Why am I putting a restriction on myself? I mean, Joaquin Phoenix, getting back to the film here, this is what he did to his body is to just, it's, oh man, I can't, there we go. It's when he has, of course, he's got the pistol and he's digging it. He's in there, cocks it, he's looking at it. But it's this coming up, like, look what he did to his body right here. I mean, it's just, you wouldn't get that just adds so much to the character. I mean, he's just like wasting away. Oh, his fake discussion with like a girl wanting to dance. So the gunshot, right, freaks him out. And it freaked me out, too. It was the start of you never know what's going to happen. It's a great... This is just a small thing because what happens later in the film, you're like, you don't expect it. So, like, they're preparing for you to expect the unexpected by the gunshot freaking him out. I mean, that seems like... Because he's a nihilist, of course, the violence is could be random and everything happens. It could happen at any time. Yes, my mission is to get everyone off of Rotten Tomatoes. Because Rotten Tomatoes has done that creep thing where it's now in front of everything. Fandango owns Rotten Tomatoes, so that is, of course, you're going to see the Rotten Tomatoes score and audience score on every time. And of course, you have to buy a ticket if you want to make a comment. They say that under the guise of, oh, beautiful shot coming down there with a subway that doesn't exist, but it looks gorgeous. It looks gorgeous. Forget it. I don't want to... I know this is Pink Hat Rant, but, I don't want to rant so much that it sounds like it's just some old guy yelling. I mean, I'm watching a movie here. I'm sure that... I'm sure you really enjoy all of my asides and going off nonstop. Yeah, I had no idea what was going on with this scene. The scene when he follows the girl. It was that scene that made people write things about the movie that were not true. And that in the beginning scene. This is what I mean by social critics. You see, I'm creeping back up on it again. So to buy it, you have to buy a ticket with Fandango. See, I'm right back in it. So Fandango has made it to where the only way you can comment on a separate site is to buy a ticket from their site or AMC or Regal, and they verify that. So, yes, does it help trolling? I guess, but it also gets them a lot of money. You always got to think a step beyond what people are doing. Something you notice with that scene when he's watching the comedian. When he made the joke about the Jews, Arthur looked around the room and kind of went, ha ha, and why is that funny? Is there something funny about it? You should pause that at some point to look at what he's writing, because it was dress sharp, and okay. This is the artist thinking of the next joke to tell, in a brilliant, brilliant scene. Just watch him. He's like, what is it? He's like, oh, yes. It's like you can tell from his body language, I got it. He almost has this feline sort of quality as he's writing it down. And as it turns out, it's a very, very good observation, but also funny, very funny to Arthur and to people who find life ridiculous funny, as I do. The worst part about having a mental illness is people expect you to behave as if you don't. And if you pause it some other time and look at the jokes beforehand, they're awful. They're just lousy puns. And then he came up with some true insight, which is actually what comedians are supposed to do, as well as make you laugh, which is, Arthur's problem. I wonder why he even had this relationship. Oh, I have a gun. I can come by tomorrow to rob the bank. He's taking her seriously. Or, because it's not real, remember, spoilers, he said it to get a laugh. That's his humor. Of course, it's his kind of humor. I guess... I mean, of course, it's on his mind, and we've already established that he has a strong, vivid imagination with the Murray show and how he got hugged. Another expect the unexpected. First off, a clown. It's the 80s because it's a clown dancing to help sick kids. Who does that now? Imagine a clown walking in 2020. Hey, hello, folks. But Joaquin Phoenix is a really good clown. But right, coming up. See? The gun. He's look at him. He's like, she's doing the clown shush. My girlfriend told me about an article that the New York Times dance critic reviewed the movie. I still have to look it up. This is my best friend's favorite line in the movie. Coming up here. He's in the phone booth. What kind of clown carries a fucking gun? Wait, it's true. What clown does carry a fucking gun? Yeah, of course he got canned for having a gun. He's a party clown, because party clowns have guns. But one of the mischaracterizations of the film is that he doesn't have any reason to do what he does other than the beginning of the film, and about that, and being teased. That was from people who either didn't see the film and reviewed it, or reviewed it before even walking in, because this film deals with alienation, it deals with mental illness, it deals with how easily a society can break down. And yeah, I think probably some of these people would take a second look at this film and go, there's a lot of salient points here. And I said salient. Here at Pink Hat Rant, I go deep on the vocab. It's not even that important a vocabulary word, or a good. This scene made me cringe. It was like, come on, he's being nice to you. Being nice to the girl on the subway. And then poor Joaquin, he's laughing and he doesn't want to. Of course, this is supposed to be reminiscent of Bernard Goetz. The only thing that I do agree with some of the critics of the films, this is a parallel to that, because Bernard Goetz was a man in the early 80s, who, as a vigilante, took out some robbers, killed them, shot them. And it was a big, big deal for a long time. And Bernard Goetz, I think, is a name that sort of like has come to mean that. Someone becoming their own vigilante. He's singing this awful Stephen Sondheim song. Yeah, I said awful. I can't stand it. I have a memory of going to a variety show when I was in high school. And I'm sure she was no more than 14, because I was no more than 14. She sang this song and like burst into tears at the end. And it confused me. First off, the song confused me. And then it just confused me why she was crying. I mean, it wasn't a bad performance. It's just a bad song. So I don't think she was like upset that she messed up. This is more expect the unexpected. Beautiful sequence. You're about 32 minutes in. Expect the unexpected. Man, that was beautifully choreographed, that shot. He's been here before. All right. We'll watch. Oh! If you didn't know it already, this film is rated R. So if you didn't expect what you just saw, then sorry. And also, why are you here? The sense of the friction and movement in this scene is almost ballet-like. He shoots, he goes forward. The train shoots forward. The guy is trying to get out. When they come out, he walks deliberately, very straight and deliberate for the guy to make sure he doesn't escape. See, it's like... And something else to note here. After that... Oh. Yeah, first off, I want someone to think about how many bullets he shot and how he ended up reloading and win. But back to the moment, he's in deep trouble. Deep, deep trouble, and he knows it. So where does he go to escape trouble? The only place he knows to escape trouble. He goes up. He goes up to get away, and he goes up even further because that's the only way to get rid of problems in society is to go to a higher power, if you think about it. And I don't want you to think about it. Don't think about anything I say. I'm just talking. I'm trying to have some fun. And, when I saw this scene, I knew it was going to be a once-in-a-generation masterpiece. Who the hell expected this? And without comment, here comes the dance. Gorgeous shot of his chin. I had to say that. I don't even recognize him as Joaquin Phoenix. I know I said I wouldn't comment, but if you're just here to hang out, you don't want to hear dead air all the time. But it's so brilliantly choreographed, and he can move. As we'll see later in the film, he can really move. But it almost looks like Guy Fawkes, the guy from V for Vendetta. That face right there, especially with the hair. The birth. So the birth of the Joker really doesn't come until the end, but this is the awakening of the Joker, I think it would be safe to say. Now, he walks right into the girl's house, the woman's house, and, yeah, I don't know the character name, sorry. But we know that's not true. So I wonder what he did, what he really did. Hey, this guy got fired. How is he... He got fired for carrying a fucking gun. Why are they letting him clear out his locker? Normally they would clear it out. I didn't have a gun when I got laid off 16 years ago. They just said, hey, we're sorry, we have to let you go. We're cutting back. And I couldn't touch anything. They gave me everything. Oh. He's starting to embrace the I don't care about anything. And even he makes a joke about punching out. Now, when he leaves, he's happy. Where's he headed? Downstairs. Don't smile. He's got a little pep in his step now. Boots open the door to the bright sunshine that's happening down below. So we're looking at his perspective change, not society, him. this scene with him shirtless, smoking a cigarette with those track pants or whatever on is creepy, especially the end. If you didn't know them personally, how are they going to know they're good, decent, and who cares if they're educated? Yeah, it's about hating the rich, going after the less, and the less fortunate are really angry. It's parallels to today? I hope not. Not yet, anyway. No, not ever. Why am I saying not yet? Look at him. Look at him start to. He's teeming with rage because of Thomas Wayne is just. Thomas Wayne is just destroying him and calling him a loser. And call him a clown. It's this thing when he's shaking his leg. Let's just listen to the sounds too. Ah, well, you got the gist. Now we're in the hospital with more bad news. We're about 40 minutes in. Does anyone know that song? Guy Spot singing how his name was Carnival. Arthur is absolutely right with what he's saying with this. I don't think you listen to me. All I have are negative thoughts. And she looked at his journal with that crazy stuff and didn't even raise alarm bells. I mean, yes, I know they're cutting funding, but should have had red flags with that that journal, with the joke journal. And now he's not going to get medication either. They don't give a shit about people like you, Arthur. I wonder who they is besides Thomas Wayne. People in charge. But now's not the time to do any of that stuff. If there's another piece of advice I can give to everyone, stop watching cable news. I vow right now that I'm not going to be watching cable news for the foreseeable future. I'll pay attention to the CDC website and some other things, and I may watch a couple of YouTube clips from journalists I trust. But everyone is creating something to make money. This is very real, what's happening, but it's how they're couching it, how they're phrasing it, how they're putting it together that just adds to the hysteria and the insanity. And all you got to do is just turn it off right now. And you're going to feel a lot better. Because you'll get information on your phone if there's an emergency. It will ring. Your alarm bells will go off. And I'm in New York City, which is probably going to be shelter in place. I don't know yet, but life is going on here. People are maintaining a distance, but society is still okay here in New York City, as far as I can see, in the story anyway. In Long Island City and wherever else, that doesn't matter. Oh God. Imagine bombing like that when you get up there for your open mic night. Not open mic night. They let him come up. I do wonder, after watching all the comedian podcasts, how this guy got time on this stage. I know that there's a theory that he didn't do this at all, and they base that theory on the fact of the girls in the audience. But this is so important for the rest of the film. This is what Murray puts on the show to make fun of him, and it's a catalyst for the movie. I mean, it was clearly an idea that was born out of the 21st century, but they tried to figure out how to do it 20th century style by the videotape. Otherwise, it would have just been a viral clip. It's going to be of course, Pogos doesn't exist. See, now I think the only thing that was, oh my goodness. See, and the doctor didn't even think twice about seeing that journal, that diary, joke diary. The only person that we saw react was the girl, the woman. So I doubt that it went over well with everyone else. And the directors really brilliantly cover it so you don't hear his act and you hear fake canned laughter that kind of bleeds into the next scene. I have the hiccups, excuse me. Uh-oh. I mean, this whole sequence after they leave the comedy club it's shown that it actually happened. It just happened without the woman. And of course, she's saying exactly what he wants to hear. Yeah, he's a hero. You know, I watched The King of Comedy recently for about the 10 billionth time. And in that one, Robert De Niro concocts an on television wedding with the bartender that he loves. And it's on like the late night talk show. It's on the Jerry Langford show. So it's like Carson. But the ceremony started, and the preacher said, "We want to take this time to apologize to Rupert about everything." And it's like those are the things that he wants to hear. Like, Rupert was right about everything. That's what the Joker wants to hear. Like, hey, he's a hero. I'm gonna stretch my oh. I got to go for a walk after this. Because I'm doing another live stream on my Korean Cinegeek channel, which is easy to find. Type in Korean Cinegeek. I'll be watching the film Extreme Job. Hilarious comedy. You like how I'm plugging myself? Dance. Dance is such a big part of his life. Dancing with his mom. You kind of wonder, though, with the mom going after Thomas Wayne as much as she is, and I don't understand why. Wow, he just said he had a big date, which he didn't have, so you can... What a mind, huh? But she's going after Thomas Wayne, like, so much right now. What was it about this one time that made him want to open the letter? See, I love this film, so I'm giving it some critiques. It's something because he has to open the letter, because there's a huge piece of information in that letter that supposedly is a lie, could not be a lie. Don't know. You know, there's another theory that, like, everything from the moment he was sitting on his bed was a figment of his imagination. Of course, that doesn't fly at all, but that's the kind of conspiracy theory that I'm like, those are funny. It's not like they're saying, putting stuff in our food. It's the Joker was a dream, which of course is the most cliche thing to do. In fact, actually, it's probably not a cliche thing to do anymore because nobody does it anymore. So you go, it was all a dream. Basically just like crapping on your entire story like none of it was real. That's not a good look, and I don't think the directors wanted that. Your son, Arthur. It's quite a revelation for him. Now, is it true? I know that his mom was admitted to the hospital and that she is not well. But I also know that the rich can do a lot to shove away problems that they don't like. Just talk to Jefferson about his mistress, Jefferson being the founding father, Thomas. It does connect, believe me. Maybe just in my head, but it does. Another reason why I think that it could very well be a lie is that why would she lie about this? Now, of course, she may have as vivid a memory as Arthur does, but then that blows the theory out of the water that he was adopted. If they both have the same kind of world-building lies that they have, that means that they probably are related. And if they are related, it makes more sense that he's the son of Thomas Wayne. See, people who live in New York, they get thrown off by this scene because, of course, this is something else that doesn't exist. I mean, the Metro North does, but not along the water. And I'm like, what water? There's no Oceanside Metro North train like that. It's always great when you have a newspaper that shows you every single piece of information you want in 2 pages. What I find hilarious is that everyone's reading a newspaper. Of course, that's a comment because it's the 80s, and of course everyone in the 80s had a newspaper as opposed to a phone. The commuters would read. I don't know why I had to explain that to you. Why does he... Oh, I'm trying to wonder why he took that picture and put it in his joke book. Some people find this scene corny. I found this scene kind of cool. This part coming up when he meets Bruce for the first time. It's like I'm not worried about danger for him because I think he wants to have a brother. But this part right here, when he slides down the pole to go see Arthur the Joker. It's from the Batman TV series for you youngins who have never seen it, and believe me, you don't want to see it. Don't go back and see it. People are romanticizing that show. That show sucked. But it was great for kids, so maybe if you're 6, you'll love it. I want to get that magic trick. Oh yeah, you can use Viagra. Oh wait. Oh, I was talking about a magic trick to make that thing hard again. It was soft in his hand, the wand. You know what I'm saying? I'm in trouble. I was joking. I don't understand also why Bruce lets Arthur touch his face the way that he does. Unless there's some kind of blood relation instinct that's subconscious. I don't know. Speculation. That also means that the Joker is like in his late 60s when they battle in real life, right? Based on Joaquin's age. See, he's touching his face, Bruce's face, and he's doing the smile thing. Of course, it makes no sense really about him not smiling because his parents are still alive at this point. It's the only one that's an asshole. You look at all of them, from Michael Caine to whoever else. He's a jerk. He makes. I mean, it's like he's not. He's almost speaks in not even in riddles, but just in like nasty short sentences. Instead of just talking person to person, and go, "Hey man, listen, you better go here because you might need some help." But he like revels in telling him this information, telling Arthur this information about the mother being delusional. Alfred, I know. I just was thinking Alfred and Arthur, and I was like, no, can't be right. But I was kind of hoping that he got Alfred when he's choking on him. But look what happens. He's going to do it, but he sees who he thinks is his brother, and he lets go and takes off. So there is some sort of a conscience in there still. The question is what will snuff it out, if anything snuffs it out. And, well, we know what snuffs it out. Spoiler alert, it gets snuffed out. And the mom gets sick. About 55 minutes and 30 seconds in. I say around because, with delays and stuff, you're never going to get it exactly right. See, a scene like this could only happen without cell phones or communications that make it easy, because he wouldn't just come upon his mom in the house going into an ambulance. He would have gotten a text or a call. So it's why you're probably going to see a lot of period pieces. And by period pieces, I mean, I saw a film that took place in 2012. Wasn't that Uncut Gems? Yeah. And I understand they were doing it for a particular player and a particular team, but they may have written it back then, and they decided that they were just going to do it with a period piece because things were different in 2012 before everything exploded with Apple and all that good stuff. But I think this is where he said he's the party clown. And this is also where you know that he's barely literate. Those guys were on two cops, some great shows, Boardwalk Empire, and the night of, or the night before, the night of, the story of the kid who gets accused of murder. The guy on the right, he's the one that was in the night of. And the guy on the left is Boardwalk Empire. Great actors. He's a party clown. He's partying with a gun. He's such an obvious lie, but of course, he's just trying to evade. A clown thing, like see, watch, boom, hits the door. He's waving at the sound. He's looking right at the words that say exit only. So that shows that he is barely literate. He can write, Don't know if he can read that well. I personally started to question if the girlfriend was real in this scene, because she's not saying anything. Now, it makes sense that neither of them are saying anything, and then she does something to leave the room so the rest of the scene can happen, but it's it just still didn't make any sense. Like, why would she feel such affection toward this man? So I was like, yeah, it didn't, and then it turned out that, of course, it was all a figment of his imagination. Spoiler alert. This is, let's see. Well, there's nothing really to show here. They're watching the Murray Langford show, right? Not Murray Langford. That's the Steve. Or is it? I don't know. Langford, I think of Steve Langford and Howard Stern, who I used to listen to up until he wasn't funny anymore. And he wasn't. I'll probably have a separate rant on that. See, this is the 1980s version of social media. It's so he's elated. He's elated, like I made it. Like it's like I made it. And then being made fun of yet again by someone else. Like you can see Joaquin Phoenix's world, or Arthur's world, come crashing down when he realized that they were laughing at his expense. You can say that again, pal. Pal is said by Robert De Niro and Thomas Wayne. I don't know the actors' names, I'm mixing them up. But pal seems to be like the, hey, pal, do this, pal. Like the upper class, the rich. They use it, hey, buddy, whatever, But pal is in particular used in this. Wow, I mean, you look at this and watch the unrest and watch anger and resentment building in a city, but there was a sign that said resist. There's a comment there clearly on the moment. But it's clear that, it's Joaquin Phoenix, the Joker. He loves the fact they're talking about him, but he's not paying attention to really what they're saying, because he doesn't believe in anything, which he says later. Something wrong with those people. When a group of people tell you you're useless, or that something's wrong with you, or I don't know what's wrong with those people. That's not a good sign for that person. You don't want a person like that running things, unless they have some solid plans to back it up. Because otherwise they're just making fun of the very people they should be helping. And I don't want anyone to get an idea that they know which way someone leans, which way someone doesn't lean when it comes to that kind of stuff. Because I care about our country. I care about protecting the vulnerable, which is why we're all staying home. I care about those things a lot. But I also won't start talking about how awful and disgusting the homeless are, or the mentally ill, or the elderly. That's gross. And I won't go talking about people who are running things right now, from the CDC on down, from around the world. They're acting as if we've done this 1,000,000 times and we should have gotten it down by now. No, this is new territory for this current iteration of America. There probably are a handful of people at most alive in America from who were alive during World War I. And I'm sure they don't have much to say. So none of us have a memory at all of this. And so this is new territory, because 100 years ago they did, of course, a very, very different. I love it. This is how Arthur, the Joker, feels about himself. He's like a Charlie Chaplin. Everyone's looking at him. Everyone's laughing. But of course, he has other business with Thomas Wayne, so he's not gonna. I just love the ticket taking outfit. Like the hat doesn't really fit him, or it's too big, and he looks kind of hunched. Oh, he's always hunched over. But it really wasn't necessary, that scene, but I like it anyway, which is why it's still in the movie. The Charlie Chaplin roller skating. It's important that Arthur take off his ticket taking outfit so he can look less presentable. That shot when the guy walked out and they cut to the close up of Joaquin Phoenix and the guy kept moving. It was seamless. Dealing with extras is hard. And for continuity, it worked. I mean, it was seamless. You should go back and look at it when you get a chance. Can I help you, pal? Like the Thomas Wayne that we've always heard about in comic books and in other films. Stoic, wonderful, nice guy who wants to help. This guy's an asshole. See, what's wrong with you? It's like, why, and they're talking as if they're bugs. They're talking as if people are bugs. Why would she adopt a baby if this all is all happening? Oh, this. Somebody who could just be blatantly rude and nasty. And I know some of you are thinking, and you're wrong, but I don't know who I'm thinking about. It's like if one of them had just been the least bit nice, a lot of this might not have happened. It was a nice match cut over the bathroom to the kitchen. I wonder how many times they had to restock that refrigerator. All right, take 32. Then, like, wonder why he looks like he's going to take something else out, and then he changed his mind. He's like, I think, I'll just climb into the refrigerator like you do all the time. You want to climb into the fridge. I don't know how that helps with insomnia, but then again, I'm not dealing with a guy who's dealing with things rationally. Yeah. Yes, nice. It's called a pre-lap. You hear the phone ringing, and then the next scene is a phone. It just gives you the clue that you're about to see a phone ringing. Called a pre-lap if you're writing it in screenwriting. And then there's the other way, the post-lap. If you want to have the end of a scene, like a line or something that says, in the next scene, like, oh, I hope he does okay. And then you see an image of that person failing. That's what post-lap does. So Arthur knows that he was being made fun of, but yet he's about to accept being on the TV show. So he still wants to be that guy. But I don't know if he's processed the fact that they made fun of him until later, because he's still coming into himself. So so you see that close up with him going on, and you wonder what's going on in his head. Like, is he like planning something? Is he planning everything that's about to come? What he's going to do to Murray or anything like that? In this instance, though, I know he's going to the Arkham State Hospital to look up information on his mother. About an hour and 10 minutes in. Sometimes they get sucked into the film. But I'm betting that 15 years from now, there's going to be some new people looking at this movie and realizing how it hit the zeitgeist and how incredibly well put together it is. That's a very weirdly phrased. It just was an awesome film. How about that? It's going to be a masterpiece for generations. The next generation is going to pick up on Joker, and then they're going to tell their kids about Joker. Just because it's like the film. Just like when Old Boy was the first Korean movie that I was aware of, because it took America by storm. By storm meaning, a handful of theaters in Chicago and California and New York. Amazing film. I'll be doing that one later. He just admitted he to killing those 3 guys, but he made sure he didn't give too much information away. Cloud Atlas is another film that is going to be recognized as a masterpiece. It's going to happen. It's going to take a while. That's the beautiful thing about film, is that, and what a lot of people seem to miss, including the business people, is that films need time to age. The really good ones. They need time to absorb. Now, look, with Parasite and Joker, I knew they were great. But there are other people who need to be separated from the critics in the moment in time, and then they put it on and go, how did I ever not watch this movie? So now he's discovering that his mom was really messed up according to the files, and that she may have abused him. But that makes me wonder, when did all this happen, and how did Thomas Wayne let that happen when she was working for him? It makes me think more and more that he is the father. I only drink water in my house now. I used to drink soda all the time. All the time. First 30 years of my life, I drank regular soda, and then I switched to diet, so this, for the calories and the chemicals. But past few months, I've decided that water. Oh, he's lucky he got that file. Water's the only thing that I'm drinking, and it has made me healthier and have more energy. Same thing with sleeping. I pretty much go to sleep same time every night, get up around the same time every morning. And it's much easier to do that now that everything is regimented, because you have nowhere else to go and nothing else to do. But I recommend it. Water. I'm so out there, right? I'm trying to look for my medium mug of water. Here we go. Water, 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 that ever refreshing drink. So I want to watch. Okay, this is where he sees the adoption papers. But papers can be faked. Papers can be faked. And she's being told. She's being told what she did. Yeah, there's newspaper clippings in that picture, but first off, why are newspaper clippings in someone's medical file? That always bugs me about movies. But Arthur believes it. It's like he believed he was the son, but now he believes that he's not, and that his mom screwed him over and tried to and abused him. Oh, he's been such a happy little boy. Man, that laugh. I bet he doesn't want to laugh anymore the rest of his life. But there was a beautiful moment when they cut to the flashback of the mother, and Arthur's in the room watching. Ah, yes, rain. Major emotion. Major emotional change. Like his raining on his parade. And then comes to upcoming this cryptic ending to a scene. Not this. Not when she's doing the... But when he goes into her apartment. And by the way, thank goodness the woman who was scared that somebody walked into her apartment, thank God that door was unlocked. So you find little problems, little tiny problems. Still love the film overall, brilliant, wonderful. But why was the door unlocked? If she cared that much about protecting her kid, she wouldn't leave the door unlocked. I'm not saying anyone deserves it, but one little click, and then wouldn't have had this issue. It's a weird thing to say, but it's lucky it was Arthur and not someone else, because Arthur just talks. At least that's what it looks like. That's the cryptic part of it to me. When he does that, he makes that gesture to her, and then it cuts to him walking down the hallway. So we don't really know what he did, if anything. I don't think he did anything. But this is the big reveal. That's why the thunder went. What are you doing here? That's a symbol of boom. Things are not what they should be. Yeah, your little girl's sleeping in the other room and you didn't lock the door. Is that victim blaming? Yes. Lock your door. How hard is it? And it's a movie. Because I don't think she'd be this calm if a weird dude was sitting on her couch. See, he makes this motion with the fingers to the head. in reference to their shared gag. This is where, of course, and you see that nothing was real with them. Although that was pretty clear before this moment. But there, and it cuts. So what did he do to her, if anything? Never discussed. People have their theories, I guess. Man, can you imagine living in this apartment building with this guy? Just nonstop laughter, and it's not the kind that makes you want to join in. No, I'm laughing because he's laughing, and whatever he's doing isn't funny. He just can't sleep. But that's why the guy's like banging on the window or the door or the wee ceiling. I wonder, like, if anybody was like banging on the walls, like, where did that gunshot come from? I mean, the falling apart, watching someone fall apart in front of your eyes is very enthralling, but it's also creepy and scary. Ah, the good old days when you could smoke in the hospital. Yes, that's true. Smoke in the hospital. Because, they're good for you. And smoke is great for film, for lighting. They have that haze, which is why you see the light beams as opposed to just a general light. They need that haze so you can see the beams. That's what makes it look filmic. Is when he comes to his epiphany. There's nothing wrong with me. Yeah. Happy. Calls him happy. Look at the way the smoke dances around the screen. It surrounded him like a... This is great. He realizes his life's a comedy. A lot of people's lives are comedies. It's the horrors people go through. You just have to sometimes you just have to laugh at the ridiculousness of it all, the little petty things that we get worried about, the outrage over. I mean, anyone in America from the past 4 years, I want you to tell me what were like some of the top stories of 2017 in the summer. You couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you, and I pay attention to that stuff because the airwaves were jammed with a certain story. And then there was outrage, fresh outrage every day almost about very little meaningless things. Somebody writes something on the internet, somebody gets angry, somebody sees that, turns that into a story for money, and then everyone gets angry, and then 24 hours later, it disappears, and something new comes in. Nobody has time to breathe and take in the ramifications of certain things. The abuse by the FBI in the Inspector General report. This is basically got overlooked for the most part. I know people are doing something behind the scenes, but due to polarization, people are acting like that report is not a big deal. It's a huge deal. I read it. The things that our country did and were doing, reprehensible. And I hope that soon we'll be able to assess that. I don't know what's going to happen with what's coming up here. I'm hoping that we reassess a lot of things. I like how Joaquin Phoenix is like a perfectionist. Like make sure he's get the right words out. This is very King of Comedy because in King of Comedy he has a set in his basement where he pretends to be a talk show and his mom yells at him This Scorsese's mom is playing the mom, of course. Expect the unexpected. Look at that. Oh, look at how he still had to look at the joke. Knock, knock. He couldn't remember that, even now, and it's important later too. Ooh. So we've set up what he's going to do on the show. And look how joyful he is. He's in the sun. I know he's still up those steps, but he's finally coming out of his cocoon. That's why he's like half dressed and half made up when he comes in, when his friends come in. He's not ready to be full on Joker yet, but he's getting close. The grossest underwear dance scene in the history of movies. There's nothing cute or interesting or sexual or anything about that at all. It's just disturbing. It literally is the only disturbing thing that disturbed me in the movie. I'm used to like dark stuff, but that was like, ugh. And especially, and then when he licks the licks the brush on his that he's painting his face white. That makeup really changes his face. Of course, also the big weight loss. See, there's a photo with Thomas Wayne on the back. It says, "Love your smile." Now, of course, you almost wonder that you should believe it because he believes it's not true anymore. Like, his mind isn't right. This is one of the scariest scenes, and of course, the funniest scene in the movie, in my opinion, and in a few other people's opinions too. I'm not the only one. But if I were them, I'd be like, I'm going to stay away from him. I'm not going to have nothing to do with him. I know the big guy, he wants to know because of the gun. But that, I don't know. My mom died. I'm celebrating. Stop taking his medication. Boy, the tension just ratcheted up. But the score is just so perfect. It just got that underneath thing. It puts the whole thing together. A regular sized person. It's such a not funny at all, of course, to the Joker. Ooh. Very kabuki. CGI, but very effective. Oh. Wow. I mean, he turned a corner and from shooting some people first by self-defense and then by murder, then turns into this. I mean, it's quite the escalation. And it's very kabuki when you see his face. It's like half white and half spattered in red. Yeah, and the hair too makes it very kabuki. Murray Franklin. That's the guy. Poor guy sitting there in the corner, think he's gonna die. And he's even trying to like bond with him by giving him the same accent. This Don't look, just go. This, of course, is the funniest part of the movie. Huh? Not that. But when he tries to get out of the door. And he can't reach it. Can't reach it. Imagine having to ask that. The guy did that in front of him, and he's like, "Oh, by the way, can you let me out like you said you were gonna?" Of course, after this is the big moment. You were the only one that was ever nice to me. See, he notices. He's not like he's not a complete moron, illiterate, but he notices people's behavior. Yes. The song's okay. Yes, I know that Gary Glitter is a despicable human being. I don't know what song I would pick. That's a song the filmmakers picked. That's what they wanted. A lot of people like it. I think they should have picked a different song, but the makeup is wonderful. Here's the iconic. Like, there we go. Yep. Hey! That's quite a staircase. And notice still how he's going down the stairs. And he couldn't be happier that he's about ready to go down into the dreck, into the mud, into the trash, into the evil. He loves it. Because look who's at the top. Look who is at it's the police. And that's what good people like. Bad people don't like that. So he doesn't want to go up those steps. He doesn't want to live up there. He wants to live down there. Which is the opposite of the movie Parasite, as I said. They wanted to go up those stairs, but they kept getting pushed down either by the rain or by the craziness that happens in the movie. Yes, this movie could not have taken place in modern day because he would not have been able to go into the Murray Franklin show in today's, because it would be all over television. They would have telephones, text, GPS. It would tell people, they would find out. It would find him somehow. But that's why I think you're going to see a lot of movies taking place in the 90s, early 2000s, and some in the 80s. Anytime where cell phones were like, you kind of knew what they were, but nobody really had them. But of course, getting away from trouble, he still has to go up. I know my whole thing doesn't hold together perfectly, but, pretty close. I don't know what the cops were thinking getting on there trying to chase after him. With the way that it is, and with the sentiment, the anti-authority sentiment, that they would want to do something like that in here. I know they have no choice because he is a murderer. But, perfect example of what he likes to do, the Joker, when he grabs the mask off of the guy. He grabbed the mask. Guy got pushed Arthur pushed into someone else, that someone else blames the guy who did the pushing and punches the guy who did the pushing while the Joker slips away. Like he wants to start. He's like the troll, but a very dangerous troll. Their use of subways, as limited as it is, are so good. Just the sound and the motion. This is literally one of the scarier moments of the film, when they're basically almost swallowing the police with the bodies. And he, of course, is loving it. Even does a little jig. Expect the unexpected. That really is the theme of this film. As a screenwriter film, you know, they take a scene that you think is going to end one way and it ends another. And then, of course, you get what you deserve, or what you fucking deserve. That's the other theme. Because when he tells the joke about what you get when you mix a mentally ill loner with a society that wants nothing to do with them. Jeff McCarthy again on the TV. Great guy. See, look at that. He looks even more different there. Like the makeup changed slightly, but not too much. And he's a different person again. Of course, because everything he does makes him different. Yeah, I'm sure it is. I know they probably say, no, you're going to call him Mr. Franklin. Mr. Franklin. Mark Maron. Mark Maron as the jerk. Like, what is he there for? This is... Yeah. Dr. Sally. Ah, yes, the beautiful. Can you introduce me as Joker? That's what he called him on the show. It's like, see, he's got a mind like a steel trap. He just didn't do the traditional learning of reading and writing. He learned enough, but not enough to function as well in society as he could. But he remembers things. He puts things together. He sees like patterns. He sees behaviors. And even then, he's still on target to do what he wants to do, which is to tell his knock-knock joke on television. Another brilliant dance sequence. It's almost like a butterfly coming out of its cocoon. Like he did that a couple of times when on the subway, and when he got dispatched his co-worker, and now he's about to go on national television and do what he's going to do. I mean, you can see the anger in his eyes, but he lets it go as he prepares for the wings to open up and him to walk out. Like they're making fun of him still, but he's in his other world. He's rolling his shoulders, doing around beautiful motion. And yeah, this is the second to last stage of Joker. The last one being near the end of the film. Watch his dance when he comes out. Those turns. Amazing. I mean, not amazing, but it looks great. I mean, he's so smooth with his moves. That's why I should really look at that review of the dancer did of the movie and of Joaquin Phoenix's moves. Uh, this is quite a scene coming up. This is this is exactly how I imagined it. Of course, you can't. I only showed you a few seconds of the video, not the audio, because I wanted to. Because the visuals are what matter in a film. Dialogue is great, but without the visual component, as you can see, is unified in this film and unified in a film like Parasite. See, remember, he knows that he's being made fun of because he says so in a second. There we go. And just like when he was practicing at home, and he practiced, remember, he was practicing it. He's practicing. Of course, it's vital that he sees, I just hope my death makes more sense than my life. Because that's when he changes his plan. See everyone making fun at someone else's expense. Sometimes I do that, but wouldn't want to do it to this guy. That's not funny. You can't joke about that. Definitely making commentary about that. Yep. Point of no return for him now. Yet Robert De Niro does that quick shake of the head. Nope, we're not cutting. We're going on with this. He knows the ratings will be good. I got nothing left to lose. Nothing can hurt me anymore. Comedy subjective. What's funny or not? I love that. A clown that can start a movement. But he's actually telling the truth. Yeah, do you know what's going on? Do you leave the studio? Nobody's civil. What it's like to be the other person. That's what he's talking about. The studio, to me, is social media. That's the studio everyone's living in. Yes. You're awful, Murray. This is inviting me on the show. You just wanted to make fun of me. Yeah, so he knew it. Pal. Remember Pal? Oh. Mentally ill loner society that abandons them and treats them like trash. And you get what you effing deserve. Mental illness is a core issue to solving some of the problems we have around the world, but in particular in this country. Doug Stanhope, my favorite comedian of the moment, but favorite comedian, one of the top. He talks about mentally challenged versus mentally disturbed. I would look it up because I can't do it justice. This is a direct nod to Network from the television screens that pull back. It's the end of Network. But it's not the end of this film. But it's just it's a nice wink and a nod. Using the old, like you see old commercials. Not everyone is paying attention to this. It's not like the lead story everywhere. It's a lead story on a lot of the screens, but part of it is what's going on outside, and then there's Dirty Harry or something up there. And I don't like the way they use this song either. That's coming up. There wasn't enough bottom. There should have been a big boom when that cut happened. It just didn't. It didn't have the oomph. But the filmmakers loved it, and it made over $1 billion. I guess it's just me. Something I would like to have a discussion with some people about, and I want to do a live stream when I talk to some people in the future. But it's how the movie should have ended, versus how the movie did end. And I think the movie ended the way it should, but there are arguments to be made that the ending should have ended at the birth of the Joker. But it's still trying to connect to the world of DC, so they need to keep that going in some way, even though this is a standalone movie. Isn't it beautiful? Man, this shows you how crazy his future followers are. They rammed the police car on his side, possibly killing him. But that actually makes sense because they don't care about anything. They revere him, but they're anarchists, nihilists. Not something you want in a major city, not something you want in a country, not something you want anywhere. But this is edited and scored. I don't want to use those words that I keep using all the time. Because this is where like the storyline that we weren't aware we were paying attention to and this storyline come together. So the policemen are no longer on this planet, but they're trying to lay him down to make him feel better. Now, there's an ambulance right next to them. An ambulance. No one's going in there to get first aid. They just thought that, oh, here we go. I hope you feel better. Let me lay you on this glass-covered police cop car trunk or hood. I saw both those films, Blowout and Zorro the Gay Blade, not at the same time. And no, it's not a porno. It's not a porno double feature. Although one of the films has to do with the adult industry. And gay means happy. Words change. Some of what we're saying now, people are going to look at hundreds of years from now and go, why did they say that? That's a weird way of saying it. Like pulchritude is beauty. But it doesn't sound like beauty, does it? A lot of times when you're learning a new language, you listen to the pause. Oh, and here's the moment. So the moment that defined Batman's life and the moment that defines the Joker's life are intertwined. That's why he doesn't snap out of it until Batman's parents get killed. Death and rebirth. Still don't know why they didn't go to the ambulance to get him some help. Plenty of supplies in there. I know these guys aren't paramedics, but they should know how to use Band-Aids, or at the very least some stuff to clean the blood. But when you deal with anarchists, what can you do? They may not have noticed the fact that they were driving the ambulance. I don't know. Stunning. This is why there's a lot of people can argue that this is the actual end of the movie. And in a way, it is like Parasite, in that there is a coda. There's two codas actually in Parasite, but this one there's a coda in this one. Because I think what they should have left the audiences with was this image, the dance. And how he feels alive for the first time in his life. So much so that, see, this is the reason it should have. Well, it just should have. I do like the ending after it. But this is just too powerful. The new quote-unquote makeup. Arms reaching out to the adoring crowd of people who will kill for him, even though he stands for nothing. I know some critics said this movie had no moral center, but that's not what this film is about. This film is not about having a moral center. This film is about the problems of society when you don't take care of your most vulnerable population. And we're taking care of the most vulnerable population right now, but we gotta extend that to the mentally ill. I don't want to get off on a crazy rant about now the Joker's laughing in darkness. In Parasite, the movie ended and then it cut to fast forwarded and the kid, Kevin, was laughing. It's quite a parallel and a mirror of these two films. But they both cover the zeitgeist. It's something to study, something really to think about. And of course, we're back to where we started, laughing in an office, or in this case, it's a rubber room. But not a rubber room, but it might as well be the same thing. It's just cleaner. But it's the same kind of woman. He's laughing. She's not saying anything. But she did ask, "What's so funny?" The other woman didn't. The joke is the parents are dead. It's very reminiscent of the shot in Parasite when they cut to the dog eating the sausages off of the skewer. Like it was sort of like those are iconic moments in their heads. The husband and the Joker. husband Kim Ki-tae from Parasite. You wouldn't get the joke. But she's going to get something. Just not what she expects. Oh, man. I did like this music choice. That's life. So, yeah, I tell by the footsteps that made a little bit of a mess in that room. Don't know how. He might. Well, I mean, I can gather how. You don't really need to show that. But I guess this is how he stays in the hospital for a while. But I don't know. I'm not familiar with the actual comic books. But once again, ending on this beautiful dance, this wild, fun dance. I mean, and then it turns into almost like a Warner Brothers cartoon when he's running back and forth. Because he goes down and, like, how did he get by him to come back the other direction? And that's the end. Boom. So that was Joker. I love that movie, and watching it now, it's like, wow, it takes it takes on a new resonance that it didn't have before. And I talked about a lot of other things. I don't know if I'm going to do watch a film all the time on this channel because I'd like to be able to have more free form. But it was great to watch that again. I've been looking forward to seeing that again. I'm going to be back on at 6 p.m. on my other channel, Korean Cinegeek, watching Extreme Job, EXTREAME Job. You can go to that channel and you can see it and click on the thing. And you have to rent it, but it's available for rent at everywhere. And you might be able to find it on ondemandkorea.com. It's another place you could find it. And they have Drama Cool. I would look that up too. But grab it, get it, rent it, purchase it. We'll stream it together, and I'm going to be speaking specifically about that film and Korean films. I won't go off into other tangents. This is Pink Hat Rant